Roca because of the ch sound,
Mm-hmm.
like character or something like that. It's pronounced like as hard K, but it's Rocha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You forgot, Abby, that I was fluent in Spanish.
Ah, yes, true.
Oh, be nice to them, or else they're gonna go off on their own.
So basically, I'm like in my childhood bedroom. So if you wanna enjoy it,
No, thanks. That's just creepy, man. Why would grown-ass men want to enjoy in your childhood bedroom? what,
yeah, I don't know.
what, what were you doing when you were a child?
Yeah, you don't wanna know.
Just guys, no. I'm not sure.
What?
Sergio, can you go to our thing and see if we're live?
It looks like this.
Well, I need to
So
stop sharing my screen, right? Because I'm at
No,
Rage's
you
mode.
can onto the PvP. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it
okay,
looks
so
like it's live.
It is live.
Yeah.
Live already?
Stop talking bad about everyone, Rocha.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to
yeah,
shut my.
we are live, Amanda.
Perfect.
All right, great.
Good. We are not live on YouTube, but that's okay. I'll still figure this out while we get going. So, go ahead.
So let me just try to find a cool spot. Huh.
Let me just share this.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm very
tweeting it
sorry,
out.
Leandro.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it figured out, trying to see if it will stream to YouTube at the same time. But we'll figure it out as we go along.
What's our Twitch name?
What's our name?
Mm-hmm.
It's My PvP Academia.
Academia. I always say my PvP Academy, honestly.
Oh, that's fine. We call ourselves the Academy and stuff as well, so
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
Why did you choose like Academia? Academia, it's academy in Spanish.
Yeah,
So,
we chose
yeah.
Academia because of, the anime? Boku no Hero Academia.
It
Okay.
follows.
So basically, I thought it would be easier for people to remember, and it's apparently also Academy in Spanish, so it works out.
Yeah, yeah. Academia, I think sounds like a very like Latin word for me, like very like intellectual. I don't know. It sounds academia.
That's nice, no? Works
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I really like it.
All right. Everybody got your tweets out, and I'm going to stop this.
I'll change my microphone. Can you guys hear me better now?
Yes, I just got a huge blip.
All right, cool. Let's.
Amanda, can you just hide my name?
Oh yeah, I'll move you. I'll move it down a little bit.
Yeah, thanks.
You can also like press rename and just put a space on it, and it goes like blank, like I did just there.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just take out all of your guys' names real quick if it's
Yeah,
possible.
because I think you cannot leave it like blank, blank.
Well,
Has
I
to be
can
like
just do Count Xevious. You can rename yourself. Huh? I just put myself as
yeah.
Count Xevious.
I just renamed him as Spleen.
Perfect. Thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, we got a raid.
Ooh, from?
Nice.
Oh, it from Raging Taz. Raging Raid.
Origin raid.
Rage and Raid.
Anti charm club coming through.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody hate Charm as much as Rage and Taz does.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have everybody. Maybe Amanda, you can share the Zoom link with Taz so that maybe he can jump in on let's say on the voice or something. But I need to minimize this so that we can get straight into talking about the Holiday Cup. Um, Rosha, what are your
Yes.
first thoughts on Holiday Cup? For me, it looks pretty similar. Like the Metamons, at least, look pretty similar to the Sunrise Cup.
Yeah, there's a lot of like super basic stuff. Like we have the flyers like Altaria and Skarmory, super
Mm-hmm.
super like everybody has them. Almost everybody has them, and
Yeah.
everybody should know to play around them at least.
Mm-hmm.
And my only worry is that like everybody will be concerned about charms, and I think I will too,
Yeah.
because there's not like super strong steel types or
Yeah.
fire types. Like the steel types we have are like, well, Skarmory and Magnezone, but like it's super squishy, right?
Exactly.
So
Especially.
yeah, and so I'm a bit worried that Charm will reign through this meta a bit.
Well, I'm thinking of running double charm. I mean, sorry, not double charm, double steel at some point, and I will see how it works out. Basically, use Magnezone and blow up shields, and have Skarmory at the back to clean everything up. But you never know. You never know how the meta develops. I think how we usually do this, we talk about one Pokemon at a time, and then we can discuss their functions and how much you think they would probably be used in this meta. First up, we'll have Altaria, of course, which is apparently right now the king of the meta. What are your thoughts on Altaria, other than the fact that everybody knows this Pokemon?
Yeah, if you can get Altaria around the ice types and the charms, I think that it absolutely destroys anything, right? Even the steel types, that Dragon Breath like hurts like a lot.
Exactly.
And I think maybe pairing it up with some maybe steel type, it can really work against to protect against the charm and the opposing steel.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like there's a lot of ice types, and I think things like Frostlass will be, especially with the Spotlight Hour a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
People will have very good Frostlass, and I'm a little afraid of that for Altaria.
Exactly. Altaria's Dragon Breath is still going to do a lot of damage to Frostlass.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that in the two shields, you're still going to do, I mean, pretty much put Frostlass in the red. Another interesting thing about Altaria is that Skarmory doesn't exactly counter Altaria in the switch-in. I think in the two shields, Altaria wins just because Dragon Breath damage and adding up slowly and steadily. So that's one of the reasons why I guess Altaria is top of the meta. Is yes, it gets countered, but it does a lot of damage to what counters it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and let us just remember that these are like not weighted rankings, so it's just pure simulation.
Exactly.
So after like 1, 2, 3 days, we'll have like what are people using, if people are really using that much Altaria, if ice types are more used. So the rankings always shift towards what the meta dictates.
Exactly. And I think one of the ice type that's being overlooked, or people are not exactly looking at it, is Alolan Sandslash. I really like Alolan Sandslash because it has play against. I mean, if you put the Gyro Ball on in here, it has play against, let's say, Frostlass. Gyro Ball does super effective damage. It beats the grass types in the meta. It beats all the other ice types, and it can do well against the Charmers because it's part Steel type. It also does well against all the flyers in the meta. So I think Alolan Sandslash could be something that comes up in the meta, but we'll discuss it when we get to it. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Some of the main counters for Altaria is going to be, as you said, Charmers and the ice types. Any other than Frostlass and Sandslash, do you see any other ice types that could do, let's say, a role that's different than just counter Altaria?
I think Dugong. I really like Dugong. We also just had like a Seal Spotlight Hour a couple of weeks ago. So if you don't have a Dugong, I think it's time for everybody to invest the 2 elite TMs. And the upside of Dugong is like it's so bulky, right? Even against maybe a counter user like Vigoroth, it's gonna be very prevalent. It can get off 2 icy wins, and like at least force some shields, force a debuff, leave it in the red, the farm down range for any other Pokemon. So I really like Dugong also in this meta.
Yeah. Dugong could be a really interesting safe swap. Mostly because the Icy Wind debuff, even if it gets switch locked against, let's say, a Vigoroth, and even if the Vigoroth commits 1 shield and farms you down, in the end, whatever the Vigoroth throws at you is not going to hurt as much.
Yeah. And you could use like a double ice strategy, like like Dugong luring out the fighter, and closing with like something like Frostlash, doing out the Maracalola or something.
Yeah.
Frostlash gets some energy, like it's shields or energy, it's almost GG.
Yeah, exactly. And double life strategy looks pretty interesting. I think a lot of double strategy looks really interesting. I was thinking about a double strategy with double flyer and Vigoroth, Vigoroth as a safe swap, and also looking at what is that called? Double counter with Obstagoon Vigoroth and let's say a steel type in the front. It's pretty interesting because Vigoroth does very well against most of the meta, and some of the mons that Vigoroth loses to, like for example Alolan Marowak, you cover it with Obstagoons because Obstagoon is a dark type, so in a way they cover each other pretty well. It's just Charmers that's the problem. That's why you lead.
Yeah. Speaking about flyers, I think Mandibus can have a really good play because of its poke. Because even against Ice type, it gets a lot of damage out.
Exactly. And if your Ice type is Frostlash, Mandibus can still hit you for super effective damage.
Yeah.
Alright. Next up is actually my most favorite Pokemon. If it's available in Silph Cup, I will always use this. Whenever I can play Vigoroth, I play Vigoroth. I just love this mod. It's so spammy, and it also has access to counter, which is one of the best moves in the game. Some interesting Vigoroth facts that I can tell you guys from my memory is that if you use Vigoroth against Skarmory or Altaria, Vigoroth can beat Skarmory in the 2-shield scenario. Vigoroth can beat Altaria in the 2-shield scenario. Vigoroth's main counter are the charm users, like Wigglytuff for example, but if you have a high enough IV Vigoroth, it can pick up Wigglytuff in the 0-shield scenario. Vigoroth can also beat Altaria in the 0-shield scenario if you have 2 counter advantage. So based on how you play this mon, it's definitely going to either get your opponent's shields or win you switch advantage if you use it as a safe swap. This is going to be the mon that everybody is going to use and everybody is going to see, or this is going to be the mon that is going to be hard countered by everybody in the meta.
Yeah, and there are very few hard counters, right? I think Drifloon is one of the hardest counters to Vigoroth. Besides that, you can hit like almost everything for at least neutral, because even the Ghost, you have something like Bulldoze. But it's not a great move, but at least it's neutral damage.
Exactly. There's also, like for example, Lugia, but I don't see any other play for Lugia except just using it as a Vigoroth counter.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Yeah. Another counter for Vigoroth is going to be your Venusaurs, and let's say, basically Venusaur, mostly because of Frenzy Plant doing so much damage to you. Skarmory is a Vigoroth counter in a 1-shield, but in the 2-shield Skarmory loses, so you have to play your shielding scenario right. I wouldn't shield the Skarmory till the end, and try to make sure that if your Skarmory is switch locked against the Vigoroth, you have to try to win the switch. And if they go 2 shields, you should try to just get out with a shield advantage.
Yeah, because you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And grass types don't look that great, honestly, on this meta.
Yeah.
Because all the ice, all the flyers, and I think the best grass type is like Obama Snow, and it's at 24. So that speaks a little bit about it.
Grass should anyway. I think grass will come back into the meta, especially because most of the grass, they are part poison, and I assume that you will see a lot of double charm strategy, double tap, let's say. So at some point they might come back in the meta, but I agree with you. I mean, I don't expect to see that much grass in the, let's say, the first hours of the cup. But once if this double charm strategy starts to be predominant, I assume that grass will have a place in this meta.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
I'm being so quiet, everyone. I'm trying to fix it because when we're getting followers, which is awesome, it's on that generic zombie that's running across the screen, and it keeps making me laugh. So I'm trying to update things as we go along.
All right, I'm gonna try to switch on the Twitch in my phone so that I can follow what's going on. Just
but you
1
guys
second.
can laugh at me in the meantime.
Ha 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 ha. All right. Okay, I got eyes on us. It's just weird, but I got eyes on us. All right. So another interesting thing that I think this meta is going to give is a little bit of advantage to people who've already played the Sunrise Cup itself. For example, I know for a fact that yes, Charmers could wreak havoc in this cup, but I also know that let's say Mons like Alolan Marowak can really wall the Charmers. It's not that great against Wigglytuff in the Two Shields, for example, but it still wins out, but barely. But I think Alolan Marowak, depending on the use of Charmers, Alolan Marowak can come more into play because it has this niche where Alolan Marowak beats the ice types, all the ice types, it beats the grass types. It can do well against, let's say, Skarmory. It's also going to do okay against, let's say, some of the electrics like Magnezone, for example. Of course, it's not going to do well against Alolan Graveler, but I think Alolan Marowak is going to have quite a bit of play once the meta starts evolving. And everybody likes Alolan Marowak. I see it everywhere. Okay,
Yeah,
everybody.
I'm really surprised to see Alolan Growler that high up on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Volt Switch is a pretty strong move with even Rock Blast. It hits pretty hard, and most of the ice types are kind of squishy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it has some really good plays, especially without being all many ground types around like Diggersby and Stunfisk.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd expect people to play quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I also like it. I mean, I've gotten used to using Volt Switch Alolan Graveler mostly because last year there was a cup, I guess, with Alolan Graveler in the meta, Catacomb Cup, and I think it's pretty good. With a little bit of energy advantage, it can pick up a lot of matchups. But one of the reasons why Alolan Graveler is all the way up here is that it has a good matchup against Flyers. It can pick up, let's say, the Wigglytuff, which I think is very important, considering people like to run Double Charm.
And is very good against Ice type as well.
Yeah. And for example, yeah, Vigoroth matchup is going to be difficult, but let's say if you don't shield, you can definitely get put it in the red, and it has to hit you with the body slam for the win. In the zero shield scenario, it has to hit the bulldoze. In the zero shield scenario, this comes pretty close. It's not exactly, let's say, a win for Vigoroth, because living with 5 HP and coming out with 0 energy is not exactly a win.
Yeah, it's gonna be really difficult.
Yeah, especially Stone Edge hurts a lot, and if it has a little bit of energy advantage, maybe you can go double Rock Blast. We don't know.
But I think in the case of Alolan Graveler, it has a lot of matchup as well that are bait dependent.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it can be surprising to have it so high in the rankings, because I mean you need for a lot of matchups to win them to land the Rock Slide.
Mm-hmm.
The Stone Edge. Sorry. It's let's say it's maybe more a Pokemon for skillful players, for players that are let's say confident with baiting and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it can be used. I think people have gotten used to using Galvantula a lot, so I think in the end, well, Galvantula does not have a bait move, but I think it's more about understanding the mechanics behind Volt Switch, because if you overtap, you probably lose the game. It happens to everybody, I guess. You never know, in the heat of the moment, you just accidentally click the screen once and then you just throw your phone to the other side of the room.
Sure. Another interesting Pokemon I see right below Graveler, Marowak, Alola, it's Lantern.
Yeah.
I think it's up there because of no grass types being so present in the top.
Exactly.
So it has like nothing to get really wall type.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's very bulky, and it moves like really hard a lot. It doesn't have a bait move, but it can go toe to toe with a lot of stuff.
Emir Raju says Mr. Rhyme will dominate the meta. If you use Mr. Rhyme and if you go 5-0, please send us the video. I swear I will apologize to everybody who I flamed for buying Mr. Rhyme.
Mr. Rhyme is 123, and Mr. Mime is 21. Honestly, it has good moves, but I think it's lacking stats.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, because it has Ice Shard, Icy Wind, which is a very good combo. But the survivability is an issue.
Yeah. And there's a question from Plutonium.
Sound it out, Abby.
All right, sorry. Plutonium about lick users. Well, one of the reasons why lick users can either work really well or really bad in this meta. Like in GBL, they're pretty good, mostly because of the fact that they can do neutral damage to most of the mons in the meta. Here, you're going to see quite a bit of Vigoroths and Obstagoons. Lick doesn't do much to any of these mons. And it, of course, like if you have a really high stat product Lickitung, it can beat Altaria if you have a few licks advantage. But other than that, I really don't see quite a lot of play for the lick users. Like Bulldoze, like for example, if you're going to use Munchlax, it's going to have Body Slam Bulldoze. Body Slam doesn't do much against the Skarmory. Bulldoze also doesn't do quite a bit against Skarmory. Same for Altaria. If you're going to use Licky, it's going to be Body Slam Grass Knot. I really don't see a lot of use for, I mean, as a coverage moves, these are not that great. For example, you go against a Frostlash's Avalanche is going to hurt you so much more than you trying to licking a Frostlash down. Also, Charmers like Wigglytuff, they're also part normal, so your lick again gets resisted. In the end, I don't think lick users will have a lot of play, especially with the, from the looks of it, there's going to be a lot more steel types that's going to show up. I'll send you the battles. All right, looking forward to it.
Yeah, because most normal types that are gonna get used are like Vigoroth, Diggersby, Obstagoon, and Wigglytuff. Besides those four, I don't think we see anything else. Maybe Snorlax, I don't know. But Vigoroth being so good.
Yeah.
But maybe newer players don't have a Vigoroth, right? Because it hasn't been available for quite some time. So that could be an issue for some.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have 4 Vigoroths made. 3 of them are really bad IVs. One just a bit better than the other. But finally got my rank 5 or 6 Vigoroth. And I was like, okay, I don't care. I have like 100,000 dust left, but I'm gonna power this guy up. I think the meta is going to be a bit more difficult to read. Another special Pokemon that shows up here is going to be your Stunfisk. This has a lot of play in the essence that it can do well against the flyers. For if you have a good stat product Stunfisk and the Altaria does not know what it's doing, you can beat the Altaria. The Altaria needs to bait you with Sky Attack and then land the Dragon Pulse for the win. If it goes straight Sky Attack, Stunfisk will beat the Altaria. So try to not shield the first one and shield the second, and you probably in most cases than not, you might pick up the win. It also has amazing play against a lot of the core meta. For example, it can beat Vigoroth and Obstagoon mostly because of the spamminess of its moves and how fast it gets there. It will also beat, let's say, your Alolan Gravelers, your Alolan Marowaks, Magnezones, Steel types, and it does pretty well against Wigglytuff too. It's not exactly like, oh yeah, great, a Charm user and Stunfisk loses. No, Stunfisk has play against Vigoroth. In a way, it's like a little bit more of an ace of spades in this cup. If you, So if we see more and more Stunfisk usage as the meta develops, you will see Stunfisk going all the way to the top or somewhere at the top, and then you will see a lot more grass types, creeping up into the meta, like, and also Obama Snow, because Obama Snow it really does a lot of damage to the Stunfisk.
I really love Stunfisk. He's definitely in my team because I think that's in my opinion the best generalist in this meta for the reason you just mentioned, Count. He has except against grass types, he has a lot of play against all the mons that are going to be dominant in this meta.
Exactly. That darn guy, how's everybody doing? I think we're all doing fine. Russia was complaining about it being cold at 20 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, we're in Belgium at 5 degrees Celsius or something.
Oh no, I would die probably.
Yeah.
There is a question in the chat, Abby, on Knockdown.
Yes.
I know it's a mon you like, so that's why I'm asking that to you.
Yeah, Noctowl is my baby. Noctowl is a bulky monster. That's what I would call it. Noctowl is amazing. You can threaten most of the Pokemon in this meta with Noctowl. Of course, you're going to be walled by, let's say, what is it called? Steel Ice types, like for example, Alolan Sandslash. And Frostlass matchup isn't as bad as you think it might be. You can no shield and still land the Sky Attack and bring the Frostlass to the orange. That's something that I wouldn't mind if I'm going to use my Noctowl as a safe swap. Another thing about Noctowl is that it walls Alolan Marowak. There's nothing Alolan Marowak can do unless the Alolan Marowak is running Fire Blast, but I would strongly advise you not to run Fire Blast.
Only if you're making a YouTube video about it.
Exactly. I think Fire Blast is a gimmick move that you shouldn't be running on Alolan Marowak.
Yeah, but Noctowl I really like. If somebody played Sylph, I think it's one of the bulkiest flying types in Great League. Mm-hmm. And it got some pretty awesome moves like Wing Attack, Sky Attack. It's like, I think it's the best flying moveset, right?
Exactly.
Besides Brave Bird that buffs yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the coverage move, Psychic or Nightshade. I think you prefer to go to Nightshade, right? For the Steel types.
Yeah, exactly. In this one, you go with Nightshade for Steel types and also the coverage for Frostlass. Because Frostlass, Nightshade on Frostlass does hurt, but ideally you would still go straight straight Sky Attack. But
yeah.
If you
Sky Attack is more energy efficient than Nightshade.
But in a case of a closing scenario when both of you are down shields and you get to the Nightshade before, throw the Nightshade.
Yeah, exactly.
I really think Noctowl is amazing. It also has play against Wigglytuff. If you have a bulky enough Wigglytuff, if you have a bulky enough Noctowl, you can win in the Zero Shields. Unless the Wigglytuff has a little bit more attack so that it reaches the charm breakpoint to charm you down before you get to 2 Sky Attacks. So yeah, it's a mon that could have a lot of play depending on how the meta evolves. It also has clean wins against Vigoroth and Obstagoon. It can do quite a bit of damage to Altaria also. So yeah, I think it's a very good safe swap in this meta, depending on where the electrics are going to be.
Speaking of electrics, Amy is saying Alolan Raichu with Wild Charge and Grass Knot can have pretty good coverage.
Alolan Raichu with Grass Knot Wild Charge. Yes, it has good coverage, but I do think that it's going to do great against Vigoroth, Obstagoon. Not so much against Obstagoon probably because Night Slash comes faster.
Yeah, it loses to Obstagoon.
Yeah. Vigoroth can also threaten it with a Bulldoze, but you wouldn't because Body Slam is more energy efficient. Altaria it loses too, I'm pretty sure, because Wild Charge does a lot of damage to Altaria, but shielding once, I think the Altaria can pick up the win. It will beat Frostlass, I think so, right?
I think depending on baits.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. It's also kind of hard countered by like the grass ones, like Venusaur.
Yeah, it gets like some kind of wall.
Yeah.
Everything is resisted.
I think the only play Alolan Raichu has really in this meta is against the flyers and the water types. And the water type that you're going to see is going to be a lantern. So would you hit it with a wild would you hit it with a wild charge, or try to hit it with the grass knot, which is non-stab? I think it's going to be good, but I don't know how good. That's the problem. If I'm going to run a electric type Pokemon, I will run Stunfisk, mostly because of the coverage and the bulk that comes with it. I don't want to get charmed down. Like you throw 2 wild charges in the swap in condition, and they commit 2 shields, farm you down, and you lose switch, and then which might make you lose the game. I tried to build my team in a way that double Charmers doesn't double shield and ruin my day.
So on the topic of electric still, we have a message, people wondering if you would prefer a Alolan Graveler or a Alolan Raichu.
Ooh, I like Graveler over Raichu.
I think Graveler has a little bit more play.
Yeah, mostly because of its access to Rock Slide and stuff, which is going to do super effective damage against the Altaria. Also, it's going to do super effective damage against the Ice types. It does super effective damage against Alolan Marowak, and does neutral to Lantern, and also neutral to Wigglytuff. I really like that, and it's not as squishy as Raichu. I think Raichu's typings give it away. If it being a part psychic, it doesn't really help it, I think.
I'm also seeing Celio that I really like. I don't remember the meta.
Timeless Cup.
Timeless, right? It was Lapras
exactly.
Celio.
Yeah.
I think I use Lapras Celio. I really like Celio because it has that spammy powder snow and
Me too.
Body slam.
And it spams, and it has a lot of bulk.
Yeah.
So it can really take shields or damage. So maybe we can see a double body slam play with Vigoroth and Celio. That would be interesting.
Man, that would be disgusting to play against. Yeah, and the thing with Celio is that it can still it beats Lapras, I think, just because Body Slam comes so fast.
Yes.
And another advantage of Celio is going to be that yeah, you're going to beat Altaria. It's going to be a convincing win, and you might come out with a lot more energy. And against Vigoroth, Body Slam, yes, of course you're going to be taking super effective counter damages, but once you play Celio, you will understand that Body Slam from a Vigoroth doesn't do a lot of damage to you.
For sure.
So it's going to be interesting. Celio is something that I'm surprised is not up here, but I think it's mostly because it loses a lot of matchups, but it's very close losses. Something that I would think in a real game scenario can be either flipped or used to your advantage by taking shields. So yeah, that's my take on Celio. Where would you place Snorlax in this meta? I wouldn't place him anywhere with Vigoroth running around. That's my that's my honest opinion.
Or
it's a problem with the league guys.
Yeah.
A lot of normal types.
Unless you have like a Alolan Marowak at the back and then you swap in your Snorlax, I don't think it has a lot of play. Maybe you're super spicy and run Outrage on it, and then land it on Altaria, and then suddenly see that the Altaria is still alive. Because Outrage from Snorlax unfortunately does not kill the Altaria. But yeah, everything I'm very skeptical about leak users in this meta. Another Pokemon that I really like is another fire user that's in the top 15, and that's Charizard. I think this is a very good mon, but it's going to depend on how well you can bait. It picks up Vigoroth if you get the Dragon Claw bait and land the Blast Burn. It picks up Obstagoon the same way. It walls the fire types, and it also beats Diggersby which if you guys know, or if you are in the same elo range as Rocha, he's going to be using, so counter him.
And let's see honestly how many XL Diggersby are around, because from where I am, it's very, very common.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think people will invest that much in a Pokemon that maybe they don't use in open Great League.
Yeah. But Diggersby is like having 4 shields instead of 2.
Yeah, it's really bulky and Spanish, like the mini Groudon.
Yeah, mini Groudon. Level 50 mini Groudon. Poof! It is very tanky and you can use it, but I think it's way up here. Like, what people should understand when they see a Pokemon like Diggersby all the way up here is that most of the scenario is built around the fact that you bait with the Fire Punch and close with the Earthquake.
Yes.
If you fail the bait, you might lose like 10 or 15% of the matchups that says it's a win. Diggersby with Hyper Beam. Interesting.
We have another, which would you prefer in the chat of Dugong or Lapras? And what do you guys think would be better if you were only going to run one? I think Rocha said Dugong was a must, right, earlier?
Well, I like Lapras over Dugong because of coverage. Dugong has Ice Shot, Water Pulse. Water Pulse is not the best move. Lapras, on the other hand, Surf and what is it called? Skull Bash?
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you have your Lapras switch locked against an Altaria, I would just go straight for the Skull Bash and boost my Lapras so that whatever comes in next, oh great, now you have a boosted Lapras that you need to deal with.
Yes.
Dugong is more like, it has one function, and that's going to be disabling be annoying to your enemy. But Lapras has more of like, all right, I'm gonna make myself strong. Come at me.
So you would recommend running Surf and Skull Bash on the Lapras?
Yes, I like Skull Bash. I think Skull Bash is amazing. It does a lot of damage, has no stab, but it does a lot of damage and also gives you the added benefit of getting buffed up. And that's something that's really, really good. Yeah, exactly. That's how you should play. Dugong is an amazing lead always, and Lapras is good at the back or as a switch-in. And if you have a Shadow Lapras, I think it could be actually pretty good in this meta. Maybe in the Zero Shield, Shadow Lapras can beat Vigoroth even, double Surf. Not sure, but maybe we can check it out. And Lapras also has convincing wins against Frostlass and Snowy Castform. I also will never ever understand why Snowy Castform sometimes shows up in the top of the meta. It really shouldn't be there. Because it's cute.
It's typically a mon, the kind of mon we are talking about that relies on baiting. So
yeah, and it has no coverage. I don't like mons that have no coverage.
It's pure snow. Maybe it's just up there to people make them want it, because most of the world doesn't have access to snowy weather.
Yeah.
So
hey,
it's
you know,
there to tease.
We'll gladly send it down to you if you want.
No.
I found one by accident. I was on vacation in France, and it was not snowy. It was foggy weather.
Foggy, yeah.
And the foggy weather just expired. I was just walking on the street, and I was like, wait, what? Why is there a Snowy Castform here? I did not know it was foggy before. And then I realized it must have been foggy, and I just started running at every Castform I saw. And I have got a rank 1.
Nice.
Triple legacy.
But it's really bulky, right?
Yeah, it is very bulky. You'd be surprised.
It's also super spammy because it has the weather ball. So it's
maybe,
annoying
maybe
in that
that's
sense.
why.
I'm originally from Iowa in the U.S., where it's like the king of winters, so I have a lot of Snowy Castform.
Oh, fair enough. Wait, hold up. How does triple legacy Dugong Aquajet? Aquajet is also not a good move. I wouldn't waste an Elite TM on trying to get Aquajet, unfortunately. At least that's my opinion. I don't know if anybody has an alternate opinion on Aquajet.
I think Water Pulse is fine for it's a decent move. It's not. It's bad, but not wasting a Elite TM.
Yeah, exactly.
And Aqua Jet.
Definitely.
Karen Watch asks, how does grass do in this meta? I think grass eventually will have play, because when the meta is going to start tomorrow, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a lot of Altarias, and what we need to counter the Altarias is going to be some of the ice types, and also maybe if you're going to go the route of Lowland Graveler, the Stunfisk and stuff like that, then you might see the grass coming into the meta. If you're going to see people countering Altaria with Charmers, then Venusaur is definitely going to show up. Interesting fact about Venusaur Frostlass is going to be that it's an IV dependent matchup, in the sense that if your Venusaur is attack weighted, it can win CMP from the Frostlass, and it will beat the Frostlass. Because Avalanche and Frenzy Plant have the same amount of energy required. Powder Snow and Wine Whip generate the same amount of energy, and neither of these mons can tank one of the other's charge moves if you shield once. So technically, Frostlass Venusaur is not bad matchup for Venusaur or good matchup for Frostlass. It's just the typing advantage, but that's about it. You never know. You never know. And Frenzy Plant is an amazing move. If you put the Alolan Marowak in the yellow, let's say with like 30-40% HP, 30% HP, I think Frenzy Plant will be able to take it out. So I think Venusaur might show, but with Skarmory and Altaria, it's difficult.
Eventually, maybe Altaria gets shut down by the ice types. So, like you said, we see more grass types as the meta progresses.
Exactly. Like it's going to be like a circle, you know. Altaria, you shut it down with Charmers and ice types. What beats these things is going to be like, you're going to have if you're seeing more of Frostlass, then it's going to be your Venusaur can come into the meta because it beats the Charmers and also has play against the Frostlass. And if we're going to see Stunfisks and stuff to counter, let's say, the Steel types, and it depends on how the meta evolves. I wouldn't be surprised we'll see some grass types coming, slowly crawling all the way up in this meta.
Yeah, especially I think Obama will be the first grass type, because it can also beat Altaria.
Exactly, and it beats Diggersby also.
It also beats Diggersby. And it can do like interesting against Frostlass. But it loses, but it at least can spam the weather balls.
Yeah. An interesting thing about Obama Snow is that what is it called? It can beat Vigoroth in the Zero Shields. So this is going to be based on IV. If you have like a really high IV Vigoroth, you can pull this off as a win. But if you don't, and in most cases than not, this what is it called? You can really push the Vigoroth all the way to the red. And no Vigoroth wants to be here, because yes, you can throw a body slam at what comes next, but what after? You're just going to get farmed down.
Yes.
So
I think this kind of meta depends a lot on shield usage, energy management.
Exactly.
So I think if you can, even if you get a hard counter, if you can get like slight energies from here, from there, you can come back. You can come back with your last Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something that I'm going to say again, because I think it's important and people should understand, is the fact that people use Altaria as a Vigoroth counter, but it really is not a Vigoroth counter. Like, for example, look at the two shields. Vigoroth has a convincing win over Altaria. And if you go to the Zero Shields, if you manage to sneak in two counters, basically farm down another Pokemon, you can pull this off in the Zero Shields. And that's insane, because at this point here, you will be like, oh, what do I do? Do I shield? Do I go down one shield with my Altaria and just have no energy with 26 HP or just to get a switch? Or do I just lose? So Ludicolo can beat Altaria? Depends. I think it should land the Ice Beam. But we will Google it just for the sake of Totectical. Yep, it beats. So I think you go straight Ice Beam. It's CMP still. Might be close. Might be really close. It will depend on how and when Altaria decides to throw its Sky Attack.
Yeah, because one Dragon Breath and it's game over.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a very iffy matchup. I wouldn't rely on Ludicolo winning this.
And with the state of the game, we can assume that one Dragon Breath can go through at any time.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember doing the exact same simulation with Mantine and Altaria, and I lost with my Altaria every time because you can. I mean, I lost with my Mantine every time because I couldn't get to 2 Ice Beams. I was like, why? Because somebody said so. Somebody in Niantic said so.
Yeah.
All right. For those who have Diggersby XL, Rocha, what do you think you'll use it for in this meta?
I honestly think as an opener will be pretty decent, because you don't want it trapped against an Altaria.
Exactly.
Because it gets like super walled. So I think using it as an opener can be pretty decent, because honestly I think Vigoroth will be most in the back as a safe switch. So you can like kind of avoid that situation.
Oh man, this looks ugly. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I think you don't even have to throw, I guess. You can just farm it down because it barely does any attack, any damage. Yeah.
Really, really bad against Altaria.
Like, yeah. I think you still win. You should still pick up win as many. You can tank as many fire punches as you want. You come out with 100 energy, and
oh my god.
And oh god. This is not good. Altaria survives with 49 HP and 100 energy.
Without throwing.
You throw one just to get the shield, but you don't throw anything else. So that's ridiculous.
Hard. Yeah. Even in the O2 you still lose really, really hard.
Yeah. Oh man. I wouldn't want to be this. Oh, look at this. This is not how you want this to look like. Is it okay to spend dust on a very high IV Diggersby? I mean, Venkat, like for example, if you think you're going to use Diggersby later on, I think it's always good. I have a rank 1 Bunnelby, and what is it called? I have a rank 1 Bunnelby, and I don't think I'll have the candy to what is it called? XL candies to max it out. But I'm going to constantly keep pumping dust into it whenever and wherever I have extra dust and candy, so that once when, let's say, some cup happens where Diggersby is going to be core, I will have something to play with. That's how I use my Pokemon. I think of it as investment, and I just constantly add starters to them. Just so that, like, for example, if you find a better IV Mon, you're not stuck with one that you've already max powered out. So it's like, averaging out your stardust.
There is as well something that people should always consider, is that if you want to reach level 50, there is at some point a quest that requires you to max 3 months to the level 50. And if you are into PvP, Diggersby can definitely be one of the candidates you should apply. You have Skarmory for Ultra League, you have Galvantula for Ultra League, Umbreon for Ultra League.
Yeah.
Obama Snow as well, with a lot of spawns currently with the winter events. So it's as well something that you should consider if you like the mod. At some point, you will need to power up mods to level 50, so that could be one of them. So something people should consider.
Rage, I think most people here might have rank 1 XL Diggersby. I have mine. Mine is rank 1, but I'm just like, I'm never gonna get this done ever.
I'm farming like hell all those Diggersby, and I'm still like missing, I think, 150 XL candies. So
yeah, it's the same for me. I'm at 150. I'm at 110 XL candies for Diggersby, and 110 for Abomasnow, 110 for Joltik. It takes a lot. I mean, the amount I've farmed now, it's going to be difficult to get there. Also, Rage and Taz, thanks for the follow. I'm also farming like hell from home. Yeah, but Rage, your home is surrounded by 3 Pokestops and a gym. Okay, you have no PT. Lure it up.
So Alex said he did a fun sim of Credilli with a 2 bullet seed advantage, but against what?
I think it's against the meta. Probably.
Yeah, it's Cradily with energy advantage is very good against the meta.
It's because it has oh my god, it beats 87.2% of the meta. That's insane.
Oh my god, that's a lot.
Yeah, but 2 bullet seeds, that's like 6 turns.
Yes.
I think if people are sleeping, then probably you can get 2 bullet seeds.
Or maybe they don't have a good answer, just stay.
Yeah.
Because Cradily it's really bulky also.
Yeah, it is.
It has
and he can beat Alolan Marowak, and it's something quite unexpected for people. I think that if you played Sylph before, this is a fact that you should know. But for people that are more focusing on GBL, just be aware if you see a Cradily, it has access to rock moves, and it can just wreck your Alolan Marowak.
Yeah, definitely. Charm players will stay. Change your mind. I don't want to, because I don't like charm players either. Consider that most counters it has are the grasses. It also gets countered by Obstagoon and Vigoroth, right? So
yeah, being part rock.
Yeah, and also Skarmory. Skarmory is going to yeah, I mean you can see it on the screen, I guess. Skarmory is also going to counter it quite well, because yes, Rock Slide is good against flyers, but Skarmory is part steel. Altaria also doesn't go down to a Rock Slide. Is it?
You say that, but I saw it happen in Raging Taz's channel.
Stone Edge, sorry.
Stone Edge.
Yeah. Does it get KO'd, Altaria, from a Stone Edge?
It does about 60%.
Yeah, I think it should do.
No, but it wasn't from a Graveler, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but Graveler has stab. No, both have stab.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But I think Graveler's attack is much higher, to be honest. 121, Cradily 105.
Thank you for the follow, man.
So
maybe
thanks for the follow, UV87.
It's pretty Galet direct me with Tangrowth. Yeah, Tangrowth. Tangrowth is special. It's very special because you don't expect it to beat the flyers, but it does.
Yes.
Because Rock Throw comes in much faster than your Sky Attack, for example, against the Tangrowth, and it's very bulky. I think early Ultra League, the first time I played Ultra League, I was using. I don't know what I was leading with, but I was using Tangrowth as a safe swap, and people were just switching in their Charizards into my Tangrowth. I was like, oh yeah, great, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Skarm is the problem, yeah, but Altaria goes down with 2 fast move advantage. Oh wow, okay, that's cool.
So we're asked too, what do we think the best spice pick that can perform against the meta? Do you have something in mind that you should know this about Count Xevious, is that he is not a fan of spice normally. He is the most by the books, you have to know this count and this plays the best against this. So he's not the best person to ask about spice, but Spleen on the other hand does love it.
Hey, I see one. Ho-ho with Earthquake.
But will you use it, Avi?
Oh, hell no. I'm not touching that. But I kind of like the fact that Electivire is up here. It's a mon that I really like. I love its design. I love the moveset it has, the coverage it has. And Shadow, I've actually saved a Shadow Electivire for the league. And I think that, let's say, if given some energy advantage, it can just walk through teams, because Thundershock is a very high energy. It charges energy really fast, and I really like Electivire. Maybe I might think about using it, but it will depend on the meta. It will definitely. Spice picks come and go with the meta. Like, you will see YouTubers put up videos about spice picks, but this is going to be like them aligning this Pokemon in the perfect way just to put it out for content, because I don't think otherwise spice picks work. Like,
I think a good spice pick could be Shiftry.
Oh man, that's always annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think it's ranked like
insane.
It's ranked 64, but you know, like Shiftry can sometimes beat Altaria with energy. We've seen the Calepeng line, right?
Yeah.
Even if the Skarmory or the Altaria comes in, or the fighter, it can still get like 2 or maybe 3 moves depending.
Yeah.
And it does well against Diggersby, against Frostlass, Graveler, Marowak, Lantern.
Yeah.
And you should go with you should go with the Shadow variant. I think in this meta, I think it's better. You have let's say less positive matchups against the counter user, obviously, but it's you are losing anyway against them. It's a bit more difficult for you against Alolan Marowak, because if the Awak commits to 2 shield, basically takes the matchup. But the power of Shadow Shiftry, and we have seen that in the March Cup, is just amazing.
Yeah, I was afraid. March Cup was really something that I was not really. I made a team that was. I had 5 Pokemon weak to Shadow Shiftry.
Oh my god.
I was like, I didn't really think about it, because I never made a Shadow Shiftry. I never had the chance to catch a Shadow. C-Dot, and never really thought about it. And then I signed up for a tournament. I was like, Shadow Shiftry, shit.
So I loved this mod during the March Cup. It was definitely my MVP, especially because a lot of people were switching in Alolan Muk as an answer, and Shadow Shiftry was taking the 2 shield against Alolan Muk. Which you will not expect, and you are coming out of this matchup with your opponent shieldless, with basically half of your HP and like a Leaf Blade to throw at the next opponent. So that was just a typical perfect matchup, you know.
And another Pokemon that somebody is asking about is Electrode. What do you think about Electrode? It has Discharge and I think Foul Play with Volt Switch. I don't know, to be honest.
I used Electrode in Halloween, and it did pretty decent. It has decent bulk, but it can throw a lot of fast moves, and I think it can hit about anything for at least neutral damage.
Yeah. For example, Altaria you can hit with Foul Play. But Altaria maybe Discharge would be better. You never, and then Vigoroth can hit with Discharge. Diggersby with Foul Play. Yeah, I mean it has a pretty good coverage against some of the meta mons. We'll have to see how. I might have to sim it and see what it does against top meta. I could do it.
I was thinking to a spice pick as well. That's Whimsicott.
With Charm.
Yeah, I think you can go with Charm of Razor Leaf. It's up to you. Raging Taz is going to hate you, obviously, but I think it has some play, because you cover you can cover Altaria, obviously. You can cover those 5 pseudo fighters, Vigoroth and Obstagoon. You can cover as well the Rock types. So I think it's let's say it's a mon with that could cover a lot of things, and that is just walled basically by Skarm and by Alolan Marowak, and the rest it has some play. He's losing to Wigglytuff as well, but it has some play. I mean.
Yeah, and we have a question about Mantine. I do love Mantine as a Pokemon. I think the first time GBL released, I used it as a lead a lot. But considering the meta is going to revolve around, let's say, Skarmory and Ice types, I'm not really sure. Like, it will be difficult to play Mantine. I always think Mantine is an amazing mon, but it's a mon that you need a really, really high skill level to pull off. You also need to understand what it can do for you in this meta, and that will take some time for, let's say, if you're a new player, it will take some time to learn, but if you already played Mantine extensively, in the GBL format, not in a Sylph Cup. In a Sylph Cup, you are working in a controlled environment for Mantine, but in an open Great League or something, you can then look at playing Mantine, because when to bait, when to throw is going to be very difficult. And I mean, if you can get around it, why not? Like, Mantine is definitely going to wall Diggersby, especially if you run Bubble Beam. By the time you're done with the Diggersby will not be doing any damage to you.
Yeah.
Then you bring in the Altaria.
Yeah, and then you can throw an Ice Beam, but it's going to be nice. Like, I think Mantine can also do well against Vigoroth. It doesn't really matter. Vigoroth, I think, pulls off the win by a thread, but it depends on how you play it. You could go Ice Beam first and then force shields using Bubble Beam, or you can Bubble Beam it and then try to continue Bubble Beaming it for the win, but it's always iffy. Mantine, you need to understand the Pokemon in depth to pull it off. I really like it because it's a complicated mon, but something like a GBL, I wouldn't play it, because now I think it's more, you need to stick to the meta. You need to understand the meta in your Elo range, and you need to stick to it to climb up points, I think. But if you want to have fun and troll people, please go ahead. Watch them shield the Bubble Beam and laugh.
And there's not a lot of electric types, so
yeah,
it should be safe-ish.
Yeah, definitely. It should be safe-ish, but it's still going to take like super effective damage from Alolan Graveler. Good thing is that Avalanche is going to be neutral, like from Frostlass, or if you get caught against an Abomasnow, like Weather Ball is still neutral. You can pull off, like, for example, here's a matchup I learned, is that Mantine versus Abomasnow, in the Zero Shields, unless the Abomasnow hits you with, let's say, an Energy Ball, you can win straight Ice Beam. Because most Abomasnows are programmed to play the one shields, they always go Weather Ball. If they throw Weather Ball, you know immediately that you win. And it's something that you learn on the way. There is some echo on your side. Shit, sorry. My mic is right here. I don't understand why. I have an echo.
Rocha, did you see the message from Green Slash? He says, I have a question for Rocha. Why is he telling people to use Charm Hole? I saw his video and I unfollowed him.
No, I released a video on 5 teams that you'll probably see. And let's be honest, we're going to see Charm Hole. And so people should be prepared.
But you're not personally running it.
No.
Okay, I'm going to watch you regularly just to check.
No, I probably not. I just run Grassfall once because somebody redeemed it.
That's one of your points?
Yeah, you can redeem a team. Not Grassfall specifically.
Oh, okay.
A team, yeah. So they redeemed and they made me use Grassfall. I lost with it because I didn't want to win with it.
Well, I think there are like some fans of grass holes here. I know Amanda loves the grass hole.
I played it at the beginning, and I know some people in the chat definitely play it.
Yeah, there are some people on the chat who love the grass hole.
You almost created the grass holes, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, I think exactly. It was Kevin and Shinji. Sorry, Shiji.
It's funny because I have a video on my YouTube channel from like my early months. I think it was like May, something like that, using Bastion and Shadow Victodel and Toxic Growth. So I think it was one of the first grass goals.
No, I played it a lot too. I can't say that I haven't.
Delete spleen as well. Amanda, go on.
No. But so Rocha, what ELO are you at right now before Holiday Cup starts?
I'm around 2780, I think.
Okay.
Just got to it yesterday.
Nice.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah, let's see if I can push it to Legend with this Holiday Cup. Last season I got up to rank 10. Well, the season before that, when
I did too.
The Halloween Cup.
Yeah.
So maybe I can make a push also in this Team Cup.
Yeah, that's my plan this season as well. I'm gonna push in the Holiday Cup and then try to what is it called? Get through the next little bit of Great League with Shadow Bombers now.
Nice.
Interesting.
I had
a season. So
I've had a
no rush.
Yeah, exactly. I had a very, very high success rate with my Shadow Bombers No Cast Farm team. I had I think when I finished my calibration, I had 71% win rate with that team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. People just don't know how to deal with Shadow Bombers No and Cast Farm together, because both of them beat Azumarill, and quite a lot of people switch in Azu. I'm like, okay, here, have fun with my cast form. You throw whatever, I'm not shielding.
Yes.
And it's an amazing closer as well, because I think 60% of the people that I encountered ran Alolan Marowak as a closer, and you just, instead of licking it down, you water gun it down. Because earlier I had used Licky as a closer, with Body Slam Earthquake, just a surprise, because people sometimes have G-Fisk at the back. I mean, this was 2 seasons ago, because at that time people had a lot of Stun Fisks at the back, and they never shielded the Earthquake, because you don't expect an Earthquake from a Licky.
Yes. You don't expect a Licky at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except if you are playing against Marto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Licky is amazing. I did quite a lot. I did quite a lot of research on Licky. I love the Licky series, and Earthquake is amazing. One of the reasons I've had matches where I was down 0 shields and they had an Alolan Marowak at the back with 1 shield, and they just quit because what can they do?
yeah, it's so bulky, and that really hurts.
Wing Attack, Mantine, Shadow Zone, and Vigoroth at the back. Well, that is a very interesting team.
Yes. Maybe a bit weak to Altaria, could be, with shields, but that shields you wreck it.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on, you have to understand that Shadow Magnezone works in the Ultra League and in the Master League, because it has bulk by the time it gets to, the Master League CP. In Great League, Shadow Magnezone does not have bulk. I would be afraid to use it against an Altaria. Mostly because 1 Wild Charge does not kill an Altaria, I think. Or maybe with the Shadow bonus it does. Let's check.
Yeah, even in Master League, you can get Dragon Breath down from a Dragonite if it shields the Wild Charges.
Yeah.
So I think that's the same play with Altaria in this scenario.
Yeah, and in the 1 shield, double Wild Charge, okay, you beat it, but if they shield this, then they come out with a Sky Attack and and with 75% HP. So you have to be careful against Altaria. I think you need to plan your teams to beat Altaria in the starting of the meta at least. If you have a Pokemon or no Pokemon that beats Altaria and Vigoroth, I would run that. And then I would try to run 2 Pokemon that can cover this Pokemon's weakness. So from what I see, Frostlass is a really good mon to start out the meta with, Frostlass with XX and XX at the back. Frostlass double counter user could work. You never know.
I'm wondering the odds of people playing 2 counter users. So yeah, that maybe is a good strategy. So you bring something in to lure out the Vigoroth or the Obstagoon, and once that is out of the way, then your back Pokemon can sweep the rest of the line.
Yeah.
And I saw a question earlier, if Gunk Shot or Cross Chop on Obstagoon.
It depends on your function for the Goon. If your Goon is going to be a lead or a swap-in, you're going to need Cross Chop, Night Slash. If your Goon is most likely going to farm down their last before 1 Pokemon and then close the game at the back for you, you need Gunk Shot. Because I don't see a lot of Pokemon that's going to get super effective damage from a Gunk Shot.
Wigglytuff?
Yeah, but have you seen how many charms an Obstagoon can take against a Wigglytuff?
That's true. Also, Altaria, it helps.
I think it's safe to run Cross Chop because if you farm enough, I think they always shield the Charmer.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, Cross Chop can hit if you have like a slight energy advantage on Vigoroth, it can hit it for super effective.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Cross Chop is like maybe 60-40 over one shot.
Yeah. I would prefer Cross Chop too. Mostly
or Hyper Beam.
Yeah.
Hyper Beam. Or Hyper Beam. CG. Hyper Beam.
Yeah, I got beamed several times in Ultra, it hurts.
I once ran Obstagoon as a safe swap in GBL. It was long ago. It was always funny when Azumaros don't shield your gunshot.
Yes.
They just lose the game even though they were winning, but yeah. Another question is Shadow Zone, Altaria, Piloswine.
Basically saying, I'm going to make Shadow Zone work. That's the end sentence of a different one. So go for it, buddy.
If you see a Vigoroth lead, you should drop your phone and take a walk and come back if that line. to be honest, it's going to be very difficult to play if there's going to be a Vigoroth lead into that. Piloswine is very, very squishy. I mean, let's see how to make that work. Ideally, if you're going to play that lineup, I would play it in such a way that I lead Altaria with a Piloswine safe swap and leave Zone with shields to close. Why Piloswine safe swap is because Piloswine's Avalanche hurts the Vigoroth a lot. It's a very high attack mon, so you could play the 0 shields, make the Vigoroth shield once, and then come with Altaria, farm down, and throw whatever you can at what's at the back. Don't shield your Altaria, give 2 shields to the Zone to sweep. That could work as long as they don't have an Alolan Marowak at the back.
Then you'll be like, what was my last mon? I forgot.
But I think one wild charge should kill an Alolan Marowak. But will you get there is the question. Yeah, apparently you do. Yeah, one wild charge. Does not kill.
Does not kill.
But you just need to get rid of this 12 HP with your Altaria or something, so that you can win. Actually, if you have a shield, you can shield this. Yeah, you win. So yeah, you can try to play like this. You never know. Could work.
Abby, I'm gonna bring up your infographic real quick too, just so we can talk over it a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's gonna go over where the PV Poke stuff is.
Bye, PV Poke.
We'll bring it back. So I don't know if you've seen this, Rocha, but do you have any thoughts looking at this? Any glaring errors that we can give the Dean crap for?
I think it's pretty good. It's the central meta. We got the flyers, the electrics, the grass. Maybe the grass that are not gonna get played right now. but I think it's fine.
Haha, Amanda.
I don't know. A lot of people probably haven't seen the video yet too, so if you just want to kind of give a brief walkthrough.
Okay, brief walkthrough. Let me actually put it up somewhere so that I can see it. So basically how I build metas is based on functions of Pokemon and based on their typing. So I put like the flyers, and every time you see the flyer like in a box, the one at the top usually beats what's below it. Like Skarmory beats Altaria, and Altaria can beat Mandibuzz. And on the other hand, Diggersby beats Galarian Stunfisk, Venu beats Shiftry, Zone beats the big fat round thing, Alolan Graveler, and then Alolan Graveler beats Galvantula. And same goes for the seal types. And I tried to look for like a chain of command, so basically like a circle, which is going to be one covering the other. So you have the flyers that are going to beat the ground types, exception being the Galarian Stunfisk, and also Diggersby can fire punch its way out of Skarmory. And you have the grass types that beat the ground types, and you have the electrics that beat the flyers. So in the end, it's like a big circle where X beats Y, Y beats Z, and it keeps going. There's also in this case like a cross-functional relationship, which is going to be your ground types picking up your electric types, your flyers beating the grass. What I wanted to do in this meta is also extend it a little bit. Usually I leave it here, but I found that the ice types have a very core function of being capable of beating 3 of these 4 cores, which is going to be like they have good function to beat the flyers, the ground types, and also the grass types. So that's where the ice types come in. And ice types like Sandslash can also beat the Charmers. So that's something that we can also keep in mind for later. So that was the core meta that I think is great, but we needed, and I need something, let's say, that covers the entire core meta. Like, let's say, Pokemon that are like imperative to have in teams or imperative to have counters for, and that's where Vigoroth and Obstagoon comes in. You don't have any straightforward counters or like, let's say, hard walls these Pokemon, except, let's say, the ones that I put an orange on. Like Frostlass can beat Vigoroth, but loses to Obstagoon. Altaria can beat Obstagoon and Vigoroth. You also have the normal Stunfisk that can do well against Vigoroth and Obstagoon, and you have Venusaur and the One-Shields that can pick this up. Another great counter for these counter users are going to be your Charmers. I hate to say it, but yes. Wigglytuff does very well, and Alolan Marowak is a counter, but it counters Vigoroth but not Obstagoon. Added bonus of using Alolan Marowak is that it also is a very good wall to the Charmers. 2 honorable mentions at the top: Charizard, Noctowl. Charizard is great against the meta because it can pick up some important matchups if you land the Dragon Claw bait. And if it's locked against something like an Altaria, it can still do damage to the Altaria using the Dragon Claw. And Noctowl because it's my favorite mon and it has a lot of neutral matchups in the meta.
And about Noctowl, we can add that it's if you have a really high stat product, very good PvP IV1, you can flip some interesting matchups, and as well you can tank an Avalanche from a Frostlass, you can tank a Blizzard from another mon, so it's a very tanky mon.
Yeah, it's very tanky, and even if you're locked against an Abomasnow, your Sky Attack is going to hurt.
I think that Noctowl beats Abomasnow in the one shield.
Yeah, I think so too. Because Weather Ball is super effective, but Noctowl is super tanky. Rage, you love Noctowl. It's a flyer, but in the zero shield, it can beat Wigglytuff. Could be a charm counter.
I even think, Abby, that in the one shield, if you have a very good PvP IV1, you can beat Wigglytuff as well.
Yeah.
Unless the Wiggles has the attack breakpoint you were talking about.
Yes, but I never consider it anymore because of the fact of fast move sneaking in.
Yeah, one charm sneaks in and it's like, people's like.
Yeah, I've had that people asking 10 by 10 would pick. I've had people asking for rematches when they see the Sims don't go through. I'm like, sorry man, what can I do, what can I say? Yeah, Skarm is pretty difficult. I think Skarm with, let's say, if you use Steel Wing, maybe could be like an interesting way to use in this meta. I don't know yet, but I'm going to experiment.
Would you think Flash Cannon over Brave Bird?
Maybe. Actually, you don't need Brave Bird in this meta, do you? What do you pick up with the Brave Bird?
It's always a nice new account, the Brave Bird.
Yeah, it's true. But if you're up against like an Alolan Graveler or something, that you have nothing really if you have your slash and your...
But for example, the Brave Bird can really hurt Alolan Marowak, the Frostlass, all those months. Especially for me, especially the Alolan Marowak.
Yeah, but to be honest, 2 Sky Attacks on Alolan Marowak does a lot of damage. I mean, you just have to shield. Alolan Marowak cannot go double Shadow Bone, Oh no, Shadow Bone might change that. Earlier it was Shadow Ball, but I think 2 Sky Attacks is still good against an Alolan Marowak. In the end, the Alolan Marowak has to throw. It cannot farm you down, and you will end up being in a position to farm the Alolan Marowak down. So it depends, I think, in some scenarios, yes. Steel Wing Flash Cannon. I think Steel Wing is more interesting in this meta. Like looking at least in my, what is it called? In the meta, I think Steel Wing is good. It can pick up the electric types. It can end up, doing damage to the electric types. It will do more damage to the steel types. To the ice types, that's for sure. More damage and more oppressive towards the Charmers. It was going to lose to the ground types anyways. Could be interesting actually, Steel Wing. I'm gonna run some sims and check it out actually.
That could be a trend in all Niantic cups. The Flying Cup, it was a bit the same. Yeah. You wanted Steel Wing, so.
Yeah, but that was only to counter Aerodactyl, which then we later realized is useless. That was the one-day cup that I did not enjoy at all.
Yeah, I got up really high to almost reach rank 10, and then I didn't realize that you could play Great League with and I thought you could only play Flying Cup, so I didn't even try, and I just tanked down like 200 points, and that was the end of my dream.
Same story here.
For me, I hit rank 10 before, so my main goal with Flying Cup was win 1 game and tank all the rest, and I just quit like all the other 4. Just for the starters, I put on a star piece and just, okay, I'm gonna lose, try to win 1 game. Okay, great, next.
Alright, well, we're getting close to 8 o'clock, or, I don't know, noon for Rocha?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, if anyone has any last minute questions, or we want to sum up the Holiday Cup in a few words or few Pokemon, what would be your recommendations? If for too long, didn't read here.
Frostlass is a queen with shields.
Yeah.
And Vigoroth is king, so I think that's like the meta simplified.
The simplest of the simplified.
I think a very difficult team to beat would be Frostlass, Vigoroth, Altaria. What do you do?
Yeah, that's if you don't get Pokemon aligned, that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Because in theory, if you have a bad lead, you safe switch to Vigoroth.
Yeah.
And they counter you with Frostlass, and like they can come out with some energy, and it's still pretty difficult.
Yeah, but it could be an interesting line. I mean, if you guys like to play RPS, there you go.
Yeah.
If you win the lead, it will take a lot of hard work from you to lose with this line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it, actually. If you guys, another thing is that if you guys have a high IV Vigoroth, just power it up. I think it's going to be critical.
And in Open Great League, it's just as fun and awesome as it's in Team Cups.
Yeah.
It's a really great safe switch, a really good, just neutral damage, even against counter users or super effective things. It's still really, really awesome.
Exactly. Well, Alex says so. Niantic pulled a pseudo balance cup. I think it's okay-ish because we still haven't looked at the teams that are going to use double charm, and if we have ways to fight out a double charm, is going to be difficult. I think steel type wise we have Skarmory and Alolan Sandslash. Yeah. Alolan Sandslash is not the bulkiest of mons. So we'll see as if we see more double charm, it's going to be difficult, but let's see. I think Niantic should really work on banning charm or at least debuffing it a little, because charm shouldn't be doing that much damage to a steel type Pokemon. Yeah. Oh well, let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to this, unfortunately. So let's see. I've saved my sets, so hopefully I will win one, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. And good luck to you too, Rocha. I hope that you make the next level. You'll have to let us know. Maybe we can feature some of it on ours as well.
Great. it's gonna be like really fun cup, because especially when everybody goes full meta at the start, right? So you can predict what people are gonna be running, so you can start off with maybe off meta and be like one step ahead, or go meta and see what happens.
I like off meta. I'm gonna try something, but it's gonna be difficult to figure it out. Let's see. I'm liking the cup as it looks now. We'll see how people play, and then we'll see if I'm gonna like it after a day or two.
There's always Master League, Abby.
Oh no.
Yes.
I'm not playing Master League.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for tonight. Thanks again, Rochababyface. You probably will be Twitch streaming later on tonight, or later on in the day for you.
In a couple of hours. Yeah. In a couple of hours, most likely. Thank you for having me and the invitation. Hopefully we can call up again.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching.
Yep. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.